Ladies and gentlemen, today's discussion will hover around this India's growing footprint in global trade, a perspective. So we will be discussing this at a time when, as we all know, we are passing through a kind of challenging situation globally, thanks to war situation somewhere, other political tensions, diplomatic unrest. Everywhere something or the other is happening. So amidst such a situation, what kind of trade vision or strategies that India is taking, whether India is moving forward? As you all know, even if we are going through this challenging situation, India, compared to most other countries, is like well placed and well positioned. Although from India's perspective, we need to move forward further, but still, compared to some other countries, we are better positioned. So to discuss these things, we have with us Mr. Sushil Poddar is yet to arrive. Mr. Devraj Dasgupta, global healthcare leader, Sandoz, is from Switzerland. And then Mr. Gagan Sachdev is the managing director of Bodyline Sports. And Avik Gupta is the senior manager, National Stock Exchange. Just next to me on the left, Mr. Manoj Pal, young dynamic entrepreneur from Sri Balaji Group. Sam Agarwal, who is also young and dynamic. And we are expecting Mr. Poddar.
I guess others could also surely introduce themselves and Sanjay, if you can.
So I'm CA Sanjay Khemka. I basically have been mentoring students of CA MBA for 15 years now, and I'm also into financial consultancy. So we offer different types of virtual CFO services, fundraising assistance, KPO services. That's what we do.
Subhashis Dotto from Mohinder Dotto and Sons. Getting to umbrellas, bags, rainwear. In the business since 1882.
I'm CA Ratika Thantia, expertise in subsidy and leasing.
Myself, Amit Soni. I am from the background of basically jewelry market, and currently we are entering into the real estate from the basic part of the NPA properties and lands from all the PSU banks, and also a regional manager in Bharti Investment Group as a Bharti Airtel.
So I think we can throw the discussion open with Mr. Kajit, who has come all the way from Switzerland, to have your initial kind of perspective on the topic, how India is marking footprint in a global area.
Thank you. So, is it working now? It's fine, but I think we. I think it's audible. Now it's good. Yeah. So, thanks for having me. First of all, it's great to be in the panel with such esteemed panelists here in the city of joy. And really, I think while it would be fair to say that from a professional perspective, I've spent a good part of more than 2 decades outside the country. But emotionally, my heart is always here. Right? So right now I'm based in Switzerland. I'm working for a company called Sandoz, which is into generic pharmaceuticals. It's one of the world leaders in pharmaceuticals. One of the other interests I have, which we have recently started, is a India-Swiss association. So basically, what we are trying to do as a diaspora of Indian citizens is to promote cultural ties and cultural events. So, I mean, recently we did Diwali. We are trying to do Holi. We are trying to do some other festivals. But what we are also trying to do is raise awareness of the collaboration between India and Switzerland, which we think will go to the next level in the next few decades. And why do we think so? Is because you may or may not be aware, there is a trade agreement that India is looking to sign with Switzerland, and this is with EFTA countries. So EFTA are 4 countries. This is Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, and Liechtenstein. This agreement was signed in March and is expected to get ratified by the Swiss Parliament by September 2025. And after that, it will come into force. To give you some numbers, In 2023, Switzerland exports to India were to the tune of 1.9 billion Swiss francs, and Indian exports to Switzerland in the last year was 2.5 billion. If you consider from the period of 2000 to 2023, the total investments or FDI from Switzerland to India was to the tune of about 19 billion. When this agreement comes into force, what the commitment is from EFTA to India is that there will be an investment over the next 15 years to a tune of 100 billion Swiss francs, leading to 1 million new jobs being created. And this will, on the other side, significantly reduce tariffs for a lot of Swiss products that are looking to enter the Indian market. So it's definitely a win-win argument. I think we can play a big role, right, certainly in fostering that relationship. I think Switzerland, from its mindset, from its culture, has very good, view of India. And in the same way that India has done trade deals with Australia, with UAE, with Singapore, with many other countries, I think Switzerland can be the next big chapter in India relations. So happy to play a small part in that, and just happy to have dialogue with all of you. We have, in fact, Sunil, I have invited him also. We have a WhatsApp group as well called the India Swiss Business News Channel, where we are actively sharing news of these collaborations as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities on both sides.
So now, as it is said that healthy body, a healthy mind resides in a healthy body, mention a corporation. Moving from that mind or human resources to body, Bodyline MD, Mr. Kagan Sazde, your perspective.
Well, as we all know, we have seen some drastic magical changes in the last few years. With obviously, all credit goes to our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Now, I personally have a feeling that what we have seen in terms of growth, in terms of trade growth for India, is just a tip of the iceberg. And I expect that to grow multi-folds in the coming 7 to 10 years. Obviously, if at all this government continues and Mr. Modi remains on seat, we will see some drastic changes, which is already in the planning, and I'm sure everyone is aware of what has happened in past 7 to 8 years and what are the plans for the next 10 years or maybe 15. We have seen, drastic changes not only in terms of increment in exports and total revenue. We have also seen a drastic change in geographical layout of India's presence in the world. I'm amazed to see that now India is a major exporter to certain countries where we have never even thought we would do exports. So that is something which is very, very remarkable, and this is a point which we need to ponder. Second important thing is the reforms, the policies, the ease of doing exports, which is being promoted heavily in India, also helps exporters, and I'm talking specifically in perspective with exports because that's where India gets a major revenue from. Although our imports have also increased in the last 10 years or so. In fact, I was reading an article where India as a nation is now 10th in position compared to 17th position about 9 to 10 years back. Today, contribution of India in the global trade is such that it is holding a 10th position today. So coming back to the point that the policies, the reforms, the ease of doing business and the ease of exports has helped drastically the Indian exporters and has encouraged them to move into the major share with some new products which we have never thought we would manufacture and export. India was a major importer of those products. Today, India is an exporter of those products. So that's something which very, very remarkable. Last one important thing which I want to emphasize upon is in terms of travel and tourism. This is one industry which India in the past 25 years have been talking about but never has focused. In the past 5 to 7 years, I would say, India is really focusing upon the travel and tour industries, and this is something which gives not only revenue to the big players but also creates employments and also gives a lot of business and revenue to the small pockets. You know, those rural areas, those hills where people actually want development to happen. So that's also a lot of encouragement. And going forward, definitely we will have more discussions and more points to discuss.
Thank you very much. As you mentioned at the end of your initial or introductory remark that we need to improve our infrastructure in far-flung areas like in the hills and in the forests and elsewhere else. We also have someone with us who is building that infrastructure in Duars and in far-flung areas like Bolpur. So how important is this, our domestic infrastructure, to boost our export also? As you rightly mentioned, there will be tourists coming in, going in, and ultimately this is also one of the pillars of the economy. Once the economy goes stronger, then exports will be boosted automatically. So what are your thoughts and takes on?
Thank you, Chintan. Gaganda ends the line with, it's exactly, but perfectly you have connected my trade with him. So I started that rural journey in 2010. At that time, I've seen the rural very closely. I just am taking a small reference. In 2010, I've launched a project in Bolpur Shantiniketan. The Bolpur Shantiniketan is a very small, you cannot say a city, it's just a small place. So in 2010, on the road my project is situated, that was a state highway. And the condition of the road was that the pothole size is such that if one Maruti 800 gets in, so lorry upar se nikal jayega. That was the condition. So now the road became NH2B. At 200 feet road, from Calcutta to my site, you can comfortably drive 150 speed. So I've seen the changes, how the infrastructure keeps motivate and boost the business. I have launched a project over there, more than 550 units already delivered and 250 is going on. You won't believe, 300 square feet studio apartment I have launched in 2 lakhs. That was a gimmick. 2 lakhs I sold a few flats, but average 5 to 6 lakhs was the price over there. Now the same kind of units I sold 20 to 21 lakhs onwards, and it all happens due to the remarkable changes happens in infrastructure, the roads, connectivity. If you go from Calcutta to Durgapur right now, you may see for last 2 years there is some problem. There are a lot of diversions are there because of today's pain, tomorrow's gain. The roads have become elevated. Most of the road government is making elevated to reduce the road accidents and everything. And once this will be done, I hope in next 2 to 3 months, maximum 4 months, this will be done. So we will reach Shantiniketan in 2.5 hours. The same thing happens in Shiliguri. Shiliguri is a high potential zone. The Shiliguri from Calcutta to Shiliguri, before COVID also, the road driving distance was unpredictable. Sometimes it may take 18 hours, 20 hours. Now, Shiliguri you may reach comfortably in 10 hours. And that will again, this will reach another two roads, 2 bypasses happening. So this will reduce another half an hour, one more time. So infrastructure is always very important. I always say that only the infrastructure, you develop the infrastructure, roads and other connectivity, mobile connectivity. I think I have visited, traveled very few countries, but I have seen the data cost in India comparing to other developed countries is very cheap. Much cheaper. It's pani ke bhav mein. So data we are getting for our, thanks to our PM, thanks to our so positive government. So data is so cheap over here, and data makes the entire business system so fast. We became so dynamic now. As I have started my company here, forming one proprietorship farm. From there I have started my company now using SAP. सो अब सीन द चेंजेस वहाँ पे हाथ में लिख के डायरी में लिख के काम करके अभी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम आई एम हैविंग 4 ऑफिस इन 4 डिफरेंट प्लेसेस एंड ऑल द ऑफिस आर कनेक्टेड इन माय सिटी ऑफिस. कहीं पे कुछ ऐसा कुछ है नहीं कि वहाँ पे ऑफिस है वहाँ पे ऑफिस है. एवरीवेयर एवरीथिंग इज फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड वी आर एबल टू डू. सो दिस इज नॉट सो कॉस्टली एट ऑल इन इंडिया. Even in doers, the data speed over in doers, thanks to Geo, is much better than Canada. Doers में in COVID situation, people used to sit over there, and some people say my plan is for next 1 month only. They have shifted 3-4 guys. They say my office in Delhi. तो 8 महीना work from home है. So they have purchased 1 unit. After that, they purchased 2-3 more units. Then I need bigger unit because I'm going to stay here. So business automatically is generated due to the infrastructure development. Infrastructure development is such a when I started the business, I never had that idea. The infrastructure really can make such difference. The roads in North Bengal is always very good, very well connected, very good. Even as you said that hospitality, tourism is such a thing. It's really the government of India never thought before that tourism can give us so big, so huge revenue. But I have seen these things, I have experienced this particular thing since 2010. My projects are basically is a blend of tourism and real estate. Because what we say, your home in a resort. Because people go there, they have their own home in a resort. And after COVID, our NRI sales boost up by 10 to 15%. पहले जो आर्मी जो इंडिया वेस्ट बंगाल में will not invest, will take in Bangalore, will invest in Pune. But after COVID, I found lot of Bengalis, they invested lot in Bengal in terms of vacation homes, because they have seen the roads are good, infrastructures are good. If we go there and say a suburbs may, because of just a few minutes back we had a discussion about the weather, healthy atmosphere, out of pollutions. So now people are really looking for this. Little far from the city, but they need infrastructure. So infrastructure is always boost business. That's I have experience from since last 17-18 years, and I hope the global business and everything, this will definitely be move in terms of real estate also. We are getting very good sales, as I say, 10% more NRI sales we are getting. So and rest
Forex revenue also.
Forex revenue is also. So during the further discussion, we will have some other points also.
I think the biggest change that has happened in last 10-15 years, and I was discussing this with Dara also here in the little chit chat we had before the start of, was the change in the image of people across the world towards Indians. So probably 10 years ago, people had a little skeptic mindset towards Indians. Today they have a lot more confidence dealing with Indians. That has been a major change. And that change leads to a lot of changes in the global footprint. So why are they willing to export to India? Why are they willing to import from India? Because they have more trust in India. Now, where does that trust come in from? That trust comes in from the government policies, the stableness of the government, and the growing visibility of the government and the work of the Indian population. So today, India is no longer considered, we are pushing and telling people that we are no longer a developing economy. We've almost on the threshold of becoming a developed economy. We are pushing for a permanent seat in the Security Council. All this speaks for itself on where we are putting India on the global footprint. obviously the trade is there, the trade of goods, the trade of services, the trade of finance, the trade of human resources. We are doing all that. But we are also making India a global superpower, not just in terms of defense, or let's say in terms of power, in terms of fighting a war, but even in terms of our negotiating skills. So right from when different wars take place, India is also playing a role, maybe visibly, maybe invisibly, as a catalyst in that war settlements, or in terms of negotiating, or in terms of deal handling. So we were never considered also a party into these kind of bilateral discussions. Today we are being asked to play a role into this. That clearly shows the role that we are playing towards the global footprints. Now, if you look into trade, obviously goes without saying, COVID was a boon and a bane for a lot of people. For India, it definitely played a very important role. Why? Because a lot of companies globally started thinking as India. We have obviously had the consumer base. Now they started also thinking about setting up the industrial units here. We've started growing exports into, let's say, semiconductors. Even the Bangladesh impact has now created a positive impact, because a lot of textile sector in India is growing because of that impact. So again, a boost into the Indian textile sector because of the Bangladeshi impacts is coming in. So India will definitely play a major role in the global trade of goods. Services, India was only known as provider of IT services. We've been providing IT services for decades now. Now, the current Indian Chartered Accountants Association, the chairman is from the Eastern region, and he says by 2047, in the next 20-25 years, we will be providing more than lakhs and lakhs of accountants to every country in the world. Why will that happen? Is because obviously the labor, or let's say professionals, are damn expensive across the globe, and we have the skills, we have the professional know-how to be able to handle that across the globe. So we will be providing that level of services. We have been providing, and we have been, let's say, leasing out our key resources, human resources, to other countries, hoping that they will come back soon also. That is obviously a part, though the heart remains here, as we have categorically caught it. So human resource, we have always had that brain drain going out. Now we are looking at a situation where a reverse brain drain also happens. So I was recently at a very interesting situation happened. I was in a lovely professional university, LPU, a university in northern India, and I was there taking a batch for investment banking, and I was amazed to see such a huge number of African students coming in to study in India. So obviously, for me to understand that a major chunk or a large chunk of people in the batch are from international community goes to show again the trust of those people that they want to come to India. Another part of global trade that is happening, where we are even leveraging, or we are even exporting knowledge in terms of, let's say, educational courses, educational institutions. So a lot of foreign institutions are now setting up their units in India. Another form of global trade that is growing because of India. And then if you come to finance, obviously that's where the hub lies. Every country, every company is now looking at maybe raising funds in India, maybe doing business in India. So we have become like a financial hub. Even the gift city concept. So I don't know, I'm sure a lot of my panelists might have an idea about this. Gift city has been a very major role. It has only been a small, it's in a nascent stage, but going down in the 5 years down the line, I personally feel that Gift City will play a very pivotal role in shifting a lot of business from Dubai and Singapore into India, and which is where again India will start playing a very catalyst role for a lot of offshore businesses that are now being set up in Dubai, Singapore. So we are bringing back a lot of business that was going out. So again, a shift in the global trade that we are bringing in. So a lot of positives. There's only positives to take away, as what we look at India from moving forward from here. And whether it's trade, whether it's services, whether it's finance, whether it's education, whatever be the sector, I personally feel 5 years, like I always say to a lot of people that I interact with, that you've been born in the right place at the right time. So maybe 30 years ago, India might not have been such a great place to be born in. But right now, right place, right time, that's the best part for all of us. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Someone who has been the voice of the trading community, the fraternity, Mr. Sushil Patra, please welcome, and let us have your introductory remarks, then we'll take it forward from there.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. Of course, the trade in India and trade in West Bengal is growing very fast with a speed of, you can imagine anything more than a flight or more than an aeroplane. We all have seen. The only one reason, we have a big consumer market. We have a big population. We are seeing 140 crore plus in India, then in Bengal 11 plus crores. So entire world is watching where is the market. Everyone is saying, no, Bengal में कुछ नहीं होगा. But everyone is interested to do their business in Bengal. Everyone, every country, every city of India, किसी को भी माल बेचना है तो बंगाल आना है. The only one reason, Bengal is growing very fast. Today I have attended a meeting at Navanno only. Now they are coming up with a retail policy. Just maybe I think in 10-15 days the retail policy they will going to declare. And fortunately maybe we will going to, as a confederation of West Bengal Trade Union, we will going to launch in a trade conclave. So now coming back to this thing about the trade, we know somehow maybe some regions beside the political, we all know what is the political reason in last 34 years or last 11 or whatever. We have lose the industry in West Bengal. But we have the consumer. If we will take the example of land, just I am giving the example of one trade. Take the example of mobile trade. So if the 11 crore people population is in West Bengal, then market of 16.5 crore mobile is in the market per year, average 1.5. Everyone has a mobile nowadays. Everyone, you go to the beggar, he is also having one mobile. So there is a huge market. Of course, infrastructure etc. is supported that way. कि चलो इंडिया में बंगाल में चलो, as मानवदा saying कि हमने देखा कि अभी everyone is thinking चलो बंगाल में पैसा लगाओ. Why? Because in other part of India saturation point has come. If I will ask one of my best friend at Ahmedabad or Gujarat or Mumbai or South India, Bangalore, they will say यार यहाँ बिजनेस करने मत आओ, हमको मोबाइल बेच के 10 रुपया बचेगा. But if you will come to Bengal, you will be able to more earn. Because यहाँ किसी भी बिजनेस का, in any business saturation point has not given. Lot of scopes is there. Like you are saying, infrastructure. Today also they were discussing for the leasehold to freehold land. That point is also raised why it is not happening. That on the spot it is decided कि नहीं कल से चालू करो. So what I am trying to say, in global market, India is a very good position in terms of export also, in terms of import also. You just see the dependency of nearby country. They are totally depend on us. Mainly the main food grain things are must. You will go to Siliguri. If the Bhutan will close, the Siliguri market will collapse. Nepal is closed and Siliguri market will collapse in a night only. 80% of dependency of their business is from those 2-3 countries only. Even from hilly border, Bangladesh export is also very good. So of course, according to me, India in terms of export, in terms of import, you just see the price changes. If once upon a time, China was selling one product in 1,000 rupees, now they are interested to sell those products in 500 rupees also. Because now India is also developed those products in as their own. Lot of small industry, lot of this thing. So as मनोज भाई सिंह की शांति निकेतन बहुत छोटा सा गांव है। तो इंडिया में बहुत पहले से कहा जाता था कि भारतवर्ष गांव में बसता है। तो दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ द इंडिया एंड आई बिलीव दैट
let's have his views on how stock exchanges gets the reflections of a progressing economy, which in turn would help growth of exports.
Thank you, Ridhika. Thank you, Sunilji, for this opportunity, and very good evening to all these distinguished panelists. So basically, 2024 has been a very challenging year. If you tell anyone that there would be multiple wars in various countries, almost 60 to 70 countries will go for election, probably 50 to 60% of the world population will vote. There would be so many events, and there would be so much fluctuations in the market, etc. And still our economy will grow at 6.5 to 7% for the year, and Nifty, which is the benchmark, will give a return of 8%. Many wouldn't have believed it at the beginning of the year. But still, India shined like a bright spot, and somehow we were able to maneuver all the world events and the domestic events which happened. So, undoubtedly, as today's theme is that how India will actually be progressing into the global footprints. So we know that 6.5 might be the GDP growth rate, but it is one of the highest in the world. And you think of any other country which is growing at this GDP growth rate, you will not find anyone else. And with the current government, the kind of focus which Gaganji was also saying, the focus which the government has on exports, the thirst we have on the PLI schemes, especially on electronics, pharma, defense, etc. In fact, just to give you an example how the government is focusing on various sectors, the government of India to make defense an indigenous sector, NSC and the government this Ministry of Defense have gotten into an MOU where we are going to create a platform where the SMEs and MSMEs who are in defense sector, they will be able to raise funds. So the idea of the government is to stop importing defense equipment and to focus on defense indigenization. Just to share some interesting statistics with you, yesterday only this NSC circular came that NSC had the highest number of IPO in 2024 in Asia. In Asia, NSC had the highest number of IPO with 268 IPOs, 90 in the main board, 178 in the SME board. All these companies have raised 1.67 lakh crores in 2024. So that is the kind of money which the companies are getting. So if the companies need growth, there is no dearth of money in the market today in India. And that is why we are seeing that every month there is a record SIP in the mutual fund, 24,000 crore, 25,000 crore. There's a large number of people who are opening demat accounts. Pre-COVID, the number of demat account holders in India were around 3 to 4 crores. Now it has crossed 17 crores, a jump of more than 4 times in 4 to 5 years. So all this shows that India's time has come, and this is just the way forward. And the thirst which the government is having on various export-oriented sectors like semiconductor and all, which other countries in Asia was having a predominance. But now there are so many Indian companies setting up semiconductor companies. For example, Tata Electronics, as we know, they are setting up a 40,000 crore semiconductor plant in Assam. There are many SME companies who are getting listed in NSC who are going to focus on semiconductor production. So these ways the government is definitely understanding which are the sectors where a good boost of exports can come up. And finally, since we have the Indian budget on 1st September, and now since elections are over in of course the Lok Sabha and the other states, it's expected the government capex will pick up. And once the government capex starts picking up, it is expected that the growth will further get boosted in the last quarter of this financial year. So let's see where it goes. So these are my opening remarks. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
A company which is a kind of historic and heritage brand, as many of the speakers mentioned that products and brands which never would have thought of exporting their products maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, are now exporting their products and making their marks felt on a global arena. So, Shubhaji, what are your plans like?
Frankly speaking, I came to just hear. So, in fact, we were also exploring that, apart from the Indian market, can we look into exports outside? So, that is one of the reasons why I am here. So, I just want to learn and talk less today. Yeah.
But we must hear it from you because you are an iconic brand, and definitely we want to hear about your journey. And obviously, like you said, you are exploring, so you must have some future plans. Why don't you share that?
Some thought must be there at the back of your mind.
Absolutely. So, but I'll keep it for another day. I think that would be better. Yeah, because that the story is the same story would take half an hour time long. Yeah. Okay.
But maybe a brief road to fascinating journey that Mandala Latto has had over the years.
Yeah, so we started in 1882 and nothing to do with business. So it was a startup at that time in 1882. So he was a musician. He was not anywhere close to being a businessman. So he was a musician in the Bardhaman Rajgarh. And therein the story goes like this, that the Raja, the Chhatata, that the umbrella was broken and it required some repairs. So now the umbrella had to be sent all the way back to Britain to get it repaired because it was made there. So till before that, umbrellas were not being made in India. After that, he said, I'll repair it. Because, he had to repair his own music, the instrument, etc. So he had those strings, etc. to repair it. So he repaired the umbrella and the procession could happen. Because, the Chhatrapati means the king has to go out of his palace. He has to have the umbrella on his head. That was important. So it was very symbolic. So he got a fund, seed fund as you call it today. And that fund was given as a reward from the Raja. And so he didn't know what to do with it, frankly. So some of the people in the courtroom said, why don't you start an umbrella workshop? It could do well because there's nobody making umbrellas in India. It was undivided India, so part of Burma, etc. all were. So from Burmese teak used to come in. The umbrella shaft was made from that. So all that started off. Then later on, the Shundari tree from Sundarbans, those were sourced from there. In fact, we at one point we used to have a tiger as a pet in our house. So this was my grandfather's time. When he saw it, then it was given to the zoo. So it happened during that time when the Shundari tree used to be cut and brought. Somebody in the family picked up a cup in the boat. So all those stories are there, and of course we continued all the these odd times that we went through. There was a partition. There was the communist rule, which actually destroyed even small businesses like us. So to the extent of closing down for 6 months, and for a seasonal business to close down for 6 months is big. So thereafter the partition happened, etc., etc. All closed, but of course finally we still sustained, and 140 years now.
Any personal dream would be to see a Mandala umbrella while watching a Wimbledon tennis match?
So it was already there, by the way, but then we made it for somebody who took it there. Yeah. So So that all those happen, but we don't promote it much because there are other troubles which come in with it. The president's umbrella is from us. Also, there are umbrellas used by a lot of people in India as well as outside, which go from our factory. So there's a typical umbrella which we supply even to. So there might be some in his country as well. So that is only made by us in India. The last Karigar which is there is still with us. He must be some 80 years age. So he knows the trick how to do it. So we supply to Mumbai's. If you have noticed, there's this very famous Chunilal Munja. There's a shop in. So they make furnishing, but they make the specialized umbrellas So one umbrella would cost you, just the frame, the structure would cost you 15,000 rupees. And they buy in big lots, so it's very specific. I got a mail just 2 years back, and there was this person whose grandfather used to be working in East India Company, and at that time when they left, they were still there till 1960s. So they brought an umbrella which they took back to Nottingham at their farmhouse, and he opened that bucket, and then he found that umbrella in that, opened it, sent pictures to us through email, and then asked for the original receipt from that time. We did not have the receipt, but then the emblem and everything was there, and he still says that it's the same condition we bought it. So that's how it is. For that reason, maybe in volumes we are not the biggest, but yes, in India we are the oldest.
To start with, so India's global presence is a story of resilience, transformation and innovation, as per my judgment. And the global footprint that we are into, it is because of the strong policies that our government is making, the sectoral advantage that we have as a demographically located country, and also with the talent of pool that the individuals in service sector and the trading sector that we have in India. So as Ritinda said, to throw some numbers, I was going through some statistics. So I will divide it into pre-COVID and post-COVID era because that's the recent way out to analyze how we have been performing. So pre-COVID, our total exports were around $1,000 billion, which in the last 23-24, it has gone up to $1,600 billion. Out of that, the service sector amounted to around $200 billion, which have risen to around $322 billion in export of services. That way, as Gaganji said, 10th in terms of goods, but we are 7th in terms of service exporters in the whole world. And that is approximately 5% of the total service exports in the world. So the kind of KPO services, the kind of different services that India has been getting the opportunities from US, from different sectors of the world. So we can say that there was a plan called China Plus One strategy, in which India has come out as an alternative to the industries based out of China which are moving out from there. As said earlier, we had that Apple plant situated in Chennai, transforming from China to India, and there are many other conglomerates that are coming in India and setting up their business divisions here. We are into service industry, so we know there are multiple big fours. So big fours are setting up their industry. Previously, they used to set up in only tier 1, tier 2 cities. But right now, they are also going into tier 3 cities and setting up their business houses. So that is the kind of investment that is coming in India from the outside world. I was just talking to one of my relatives in Prayagraj the other day. The kind of travel tourism sector we were thinking about. Up till now, the highest number of travel in the Kumbh was 8 crore people, as per the last statistics. But as per the recent expectations that is going to start next week, the expectation is 45 crore people from 200 countries. The UP government is expecting 200 countries to participate in Kumbh this time. I was just going through some of the rate charts of the camps that are settled there. The rates are going bonkers up to 50,000 a night. On the special 6 days of Nahan that are there, the rates are going 50,000 a night. So it is not that people are not able to pay. If the people are ready to pay, then only that kind of rate has been put in there. So the kind of economy we are into, the kind of place we are into, the kind of placement that our government has done, every other day. Yeah. Absolutely. The whole belt. So it's like a temporary city that has been set up for 1.5 to 2 months there, and the work has been going on since. So I was speaking to one of them, and he told that the best IS officer, the best bureaucrat who knows how to manage a city demographically, has been reposted to Allahabad just to manage the whole crowd there. So the kind of the government thinking that has gone into this is immense. The kind of sectoral development and micromanagement that is being done state-wise, geographically wise, district-wise is just immense. To add another perspective, on the global platform nowadays, ESG has been a very important factor in which has been the parameter of the foreign industries to judge how the companies or how the countries are doing. So in that sense also, we are having a social stock exchange that is coming up in India. And chartered accountants and other professionals are appointed as social auditors who will analyze the kind of environmental, sustainable and government impact these companies will have, and then which will boost the report will be on paper and it will boost the whole economy and it will help the foreign funds and everything to come into the picture. So the kind of era we are into, the kind of dynamics we are into, I would again give a perspective of the taxation economy. Previously, we used to have a basic limit and then 80C deduction with respect to mediclaim, insurance, different subjects. But right now, you see the kind of changes that are coming in. The deductions have been removed and the basic limit has been increased. So this signifies a very significant change from a from a savings-based economy. We are going into a consumption economy. We are slowly and gradually shifting our economies. So the kind of spend that we are doing into capex, opex, everything as an industry, the change is very dynamic, and what we are doing today may not be right for tomorrow and may not be right 5 years later. So in order to keep with the pace of the economy that we are into, I think India is at a very good place, and as our Prime Minister has said, don't bet on the companies, bet on India. So put the money in India, and definitely the next decade or so will belong to India, and will have a larger base over the other players.
The opportunity to avail of this digital platform, many of the MSMEs, even small players, they can also think of reaching that global platform.
Yes, it's true. Since the global market is very large, but they are also looking for the Indian market only. And government is also promoting for the same. As you said, digital. Government is promoting Digital India, which are providing them to access how to access online services. They are providing digital literacy to them. As NSC and BSc is also providing digital financial literacy about IPO. So government is trying to make India products. So they introduce Make in India scheme, that is PLI scheme, which has benefited to all the entrepreneurs. They are giving Z schemes, means zero effects, zero defects schemes. The products which are manufactured in India, it should be such that its quality is very high and it should have negative or minimal impact in the environment. Then only they will get the Z certificate. And with this certificate, foreign buyers are very sure that their products are quality. So they are taking also. So export is increasing. And with this, to increase export, government is also initiate for market development schemes, which they are giving subsidy to the companies who are attending any seminars outside India or inside in India. But they have to apply within 10 days. जैसे सुनील जी आपने एक वेबिनार में बोला था नहीं देते गवर्नमेंट, बट गवर्नमेंट देते हैं, बट अप्लाई करना पड़ता है 10 दिन के अंदर ही सिर्फ इसीलिए नहीं मिलता है, क्योंकि एक साल में हम लोग ने खुद देखा है कि गवर्नमेंट का इसमें सब्सिडी 0 था, तो क्योंकि अवेयरनेस नहीं है, विद इन 10 डेज कोई अप्लाई ही नहीं करता है, 11th डेज में एलिजिबिलिटी चली जाती है.
Thank you, Sunilji, and sorry for the late due to unavoidable reason. So, yes, I would say, what's the better time than this going forward from here? All thanks to the stability of Indian government, I would say, pro-government policies, entrepreneurs, and I would say the leverage of the corporate balance sheet. I don't think so. Means this is the best one, I would say. I think with this year we are going with, I think what I got a figure 7 lakh crore plus in their balance sheet as a cash. So industry are expanding, I would say all sectors, rather I would say capex sector, steel, you say they are expanding, projections are huge, I would say. Everyone, digitalization is taking place, new entrepreneurs are very enthusiastic, I think, from diversification angle, again digitalization, export is a major thrust, I would say. Even apart from the goods or sector, I would say look at the infrastructure sector, be it transmission, be it water, they are taking overseas contract, and that's not a I would say normal size. It's more than I would say 1,000 CR and above. Look at the companies like Watek, Waback, KEC. You just had the listed companies. They are taking outside. So Indian corporates are taking can take huge advantage going forward. And yes, the bigger market, I would say Russia. One can explore this. So we heard a lot of news from this market regarding export opportunities. And again, I would say the political situation somehow, by God gift, I would say, is adding the advantage to the Indian side. Last but not the least, I would say consolidations, everything. I would say positiveness is more here currently in the Indian market, and I would say consolidation. I would speak it in a positive manner because bigger industries are consolidating and they are having a better leverage power, I would say.
I think, as per my perspective, we are the major stakeholders in the making wealth, because मैं आपको कुछ डेटा शेयर करता हूँ, राइट सर? आप पोद्दार सर, मैं आपको एक बात बताऊं, बुरा नहीं मानिएगा सर, फिर भी आपकी बर्थ क्या होगी सर? ईयर, ओनली ईयर 1962. ओके, 62, राइट? मेरे पास डेटा सर अभी 62 का डेटा है मेरे पास. 10 grams गोल्ड की प्राइस एट दैट टाइम इज 119 रुपीज ओनली. ओके, सो माई मिस्टर अबिक जी, जो भी अभी आज के डेट में IPOs, everything is talking, every person is talking about the IPO and the share market because of the wealth creation, as per my thinking. तो मैं आपको एक बात बताऊं सर, ये 1962 में अगर मैं देख सकता हूं कि यहाँ पे गोल्ड की प्राइस 119 रुपीज थी, आज 62 से मैं 2024 की बात करूं, यानी 40 and 60, आई गेस 62 years या 64 years नियर अबाउट हो रहा है, राइट? 62 years. तो आज के डेट में ये कितने टाइम्स होगा आई डोंट नो, राइट? 80,000 10 grams ओनली. तो सर ये मैं 60 साल की मैं डेटा की बात करता हूँ, राइट? ओनली 60 years. लेट एज्यूम 60 साल में स्टॉक मार्केट का क्या था और अभी क्या है. तो मैं जस्ट ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा सर, बस यही बोलना चाहता हूँ कि वी आर डेफिनेटली, आई एम थिंकिंग अबाउट द मेजर रोल टू क्रिएट अ वेल्थ. और हमारा सेगमेंट सर सोनी ज्वेलर्स है. आज के डेट में मैं पैशनेट हूँ इसको बिग एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, बट वी आर इन कोलकाता फ्रॉम लास्ट 2 years ओनली, बिकॉज हमारे पेरेंट्स यूपी से हम लोग बिलोंग करते हैं और हमारा वहाँ पे सिल्वर मार्केट में बहुत ही बड़ा योगदान है. सिल्वर में हम लोग मेजर मर्चेंट्स है वहाँ पे, बट कोलकाता में हमारी फैमिली सारे एडुकेटेड पर्सन भी जा रही मर्चेंट नेवीज एंड मेरे बड़े भैया लोग सब CA एंड इंजीनियर्स हैं. तो मुझे थोड़ा था कि मैं अपना लीगेसी जो है वो लेकर आऊँ कोलकाता, बिकॉज सर ने जैसा कहा कि सभी बोलते हैं बंगाल में कुछ होने वाला नहीं है, बट मैं सोचता हूँ मैं बंगाल से बहुत जुड़ा हुआ हूँ क्योंकि मेरी मदरलैंड है ये और मेरे फादरलैंड है यूपी. तो मैं मानता हूँ अगर माँ को बचाना है तो मुझे अपनी माँ के साथ में रहना होगा. तो मैं ये मानता हूँ कि अगर मैं बंगाल में अपना कुछ दे दूँ तो आने वाली पीढ़ी ये सोचेगी नहीं, पिताजी ने तो यूपी में ठीक है इतना दादा ने बनाया, हमारा वो लीगेसी है वहाँ, बट बंगाल में भी तो कुछ होना चाहिए ना. सब आज बंगाल को खराब बोलते हैं. मैं कभी बाहर जाता हूँ तो सुनने वाले यार तू बंगाल में रहता, बंगाल में है क्या, तू छोड़ के आजा मेरे यहाँ दिल्ली में आजा, बैंगलोर में आजा, अपने यहाँ पे मिलकर बिजनेस. तो मैं बोला ठीक है, आज ऐसा आप बोलते हो ना, आफ्टर 2 decades या 1 decade you can see the major role in business in India that's showing also the Bengal from. तो ये मैं चाहता हूँ सर कि मैं जिस तरीके से पैशनेट हूँ, आई जस्ट ऑलवेज थैंकफुल टू ऑल द पर्संस. आज मैं इस मीटिंग में आके मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि जो मैंने सोचा है, जो सोच रहा हूँ मैं, वो आने वाले दिनों में दैट इज पॉसिबल.
countries will be rooting for India. And with the way Modi ji is handling things, with the way Right to Repair Act is coming into picture, I mean, it's a matter of time we will become the refurbishment hub for all the global brands. Because I mean, what was happening, I mean, if you look at the whole picture, there is a very big problem which is taking place in Europe. In European countries, the so-called e-waste, which is supposed to be sent for recycling, it is being channelized to all the African countries. Because of there is no strict regulations, and there are countries where all of this anti-dumping is taking place. But in our case, the way these rules have been set up is that if any e-waste or any device which is coming to India for recycling or refurbishment, it has to be re-exported to the person who is sending it back. So this gives a huge opportunity for us, because the refurbishment market, the whole electronic waste market in India will be around 50,000 crores in a span of 2 to 3 years time, and this Right to Repair Act will be somewhere around close to 5,000 crores. So with this kind of volume coming into the country, I mean, it's India's decade. Nobody can stop it.
We have enough to showcase to the rest of the world what we have, from human resources, talent to actual products, brands, and everything. Jewelry, real estate, F&G's product. So all we need is to change some kind of perception problem that we have been facing for 20 years now. So once that is changed, I think the world is ours.
Absolutely.
It's not because we are doing something, but the world needs it. So it will be on a kind of, we can serve them at a higher level, what we have and what we can showcase to the rest of the world. So on that spirited and positive note, I think let's conclude here, but we will carry this discussion forward.
This is never ending. But thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.
I don't know what fantastic discussion we had, and let's keep it going.
Thank you for all the
Thank you.
Thank you.